Amaya umano, amaya mamana, adiwaya nora, yamichada, yamana renya, wanso wanyinyipa, swaya wanabe, yamo yamberaye, abeya ifihena, wanso wanyinyipa, asadepa ofyoyo, yamo yamberaye.
My name is John Elliott. I write for the Finder newspaper. The Finder newspaper. The minister mentioned the ministry has paid 2.3 billion of the NHIS debt since over the last 2 years. I want to know how much is left and what the ministry is doing to address some of these huge backlogs going forward.
Meeting the Bright, Oman FM. Enra, your story be if in Zambia Koso Dunkau, Diaso, Upper West District. Director of Health, or your friend Mr. Justice Nyakon. I'm an NHS, all the health insurance and Kwa 1G. I think so, or Juice, I say, on the Oma receipt. The person, Bisa Minister, say, as MBC, I bet Tomonaswana, and a day, and Amoya found, Medasi.
I want to ask a question about the status of the chip compound, because your political opponents are saying that since you came to power, we have not added even a single chip compound. So we want to know how many you have built or how many you have in the whole system, because it's a primary health care that goes to the hinterlands of the nook and cranny of this country. So I want to know how many chip compounds you have built so far since you came to power.
Okay, my name is Doreen Ando and I write for the Daily Graphic. Honorable, when you were speaking, you talked about universal health coverage and delivering a healthcare system that leaves no one behind. A matter of concern has been mental health services. Mental hospitals, particularly the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, is a very deplorable state. We want to find out what plans do you have in your health development agenda to raise the infrastructure of our psychiatric hospitals and then mental health service delivery as a whole. Thank you.
My name is Vincent Kofi. I will at Tanka TV. Honorable Million Baytree. Semekaya 2018 more and presidential media press president no. Yeah, my colleague back on BB Ebisa question about Mama Michigan Aerospace Manufacturing Association for they decided to provide Ghana with health centers and
I thought you said you were speaking Chi.
I'm some Bomba Ghana I'm a city hospital any drone na zip line for air no all respond but okay say Bolino Bishiano no Kushiano no and Mama MD no so Yenton can be I reach me actually Gramaya Medawasapa.
If I'm a nego Santa Siru, Mayajma Adam FM. Well, my question is allied health professionals, Sareka say they are on sit down strike over agitation, say the amendment now, Ghana Health Service Office, so teaching hospital board. Amendment more free management team they agitating on the issue. Meaning say about attention at the end of your phone. And office so honorable could you mention 54,000 health professionals be a mobile recruit. I feel I'm mobile and I say you are in the process recruiting the 54,000, but you hear some clarity. Thank you.
I think I'm a project. It is unfortunate. Say I am a real. So I say we are for about 6 months on I think TV every morning. Minister Ayeboni. Me could share project in health. Me can hon seminar. Send your baby ma'am or ministry. Ni ane trust when they say. Ni pana baby project no. Pesebeko president yo. Me buku appointment. They gave me names of Nipa Beba. Gavin Brown, Bill Gates, any other associates. Ghana Ambassador Okungoze say, no Jenny Mood in Drepa, he was my colleague MP, no MP. Beba and the co-president. Bill Gates was nowhere. Brunina can't buy, my memory, I'm a bit older now. Into me, specifically, Senator Gavin Brown or not. the president twa pictures. If you buy no, they went away, Bekoye. Mela minya for ne say, Beba be launch project no in Ghana. Niame catch the say, mean to me near ni mo my launching. Wa bra yenye underground preparations biya. Now I've gone through Sadia way bida. Nipa no beba se me be not nan waka. Now oni bibia wo ho. Oni ne kwotena bontene deba na twetwa pictures. Oni no de okwa resisika. Ti se yenye preparations bia e ma me hu say project no e baso ampa. Me to me lunch. Until let us begin to do rudimentary work. Yenye nia ebe mama hu say ade no ebe baso ampa. My deputy minister 8 years, President Kufuor time. Me called through the same thing. Kufuor Befire say we be the forgivable loans. Your selective project for ports, Bekweta Kradi Port, 600 million. We selected Standard Chartered. Your far contractor of Germany, they picked the contractor to do the work. Bebe monitor, or your mana and your bebe measure. Don't do higher no, they will forgive us that facility. Me minister at the time, finance, Maridu. The Kwaku is risky. More letters there. We will make sure Siyan Fabanisi can come. Take a say the co American for the first time, many Professor Kumfiamiao was paid by Bill Fingerbeggar, by was selected contractor. The co-frabo Santinti, now in Cosi 3 floors to that. You see, now me project of France. They call me to Stanchart head office for London. You could translate Kasa Honsem Saidu baby no KYC, know your client. The guys were trying to waive that. The bottom line was that that project never came on. So may you be as a minister, but we do diligence and some care level. So me no call like Chadiano. Now project now Maswa. How do I explain this to the people of this country? To make answer, my preparatory works in your answer. They started pumping me with requests, searching Chia Melanche. And I said, no, I will never do it. That is where the project ended. President, I made a press. I think I'm clear beside question with documents. Now, I can say document take it out. Who ye? So me to me Jim Tumsema who ministry ho. But story na me can ho the same story na me can hey. Since that, I think I make TV no so every morning. Those of you have been watching. My invite at Tinkamba. The personal representation, I don't know his name, call himself, Captain Smart or BB or whatever it is like. Compulsory, I should come to his TV station. To do what? So I think that is my part of the story. Now you are linking it to the drones. Drones, you know, I will tell you what happened. Initially, they had talked to us. The understanding I had signed the first MOU. Then Pierre Bontene. I said the film was coming for free. Me could brief vice president. Me can't say, Mingini say be free. Until you share MOU num ye properly. Truly, you share no, then you free. Me take you care. Going forward, you call cabinet, you call parliament. Now they don't start by radio so. They mounted their platform, trial testing, started delivery, and sent the launching. And I was bold to go to help do the launching, the free vice president baby. And that is a human percent kamama for no so. Mubana mubeye, demonstrate to say you both capacity yet be yadi nampa, and sana me, my dear Nimu Akwakoye. I think I made a good decision for my own self and the people of this country. I couldn't have explained. Semeko Lanchi na project no emaso. That is that part of that story. I believe say free nekwatin Kamfo will leave me alone because I don't see why I should come there to do anything. Let me now pick them. Dear so, this has not come to my notice yet. Even DG Cry, I doubt it. But if you hear obe free, now I check his idea na my. But men can look crunchable. And yet dear so there are some of our health people who are doing politics in our facilities. enti patients no kwa na aka chebe say mo aba ne de we yaba enra me call chief of staff for somebody in the presidency catch him say ne yire facility bi e wa giringa no na vitamin A are short to several times benya bi. Now guys said that cannot be the case because their supply vitamin A not long ago. Quickly, even when I was there, I was waiting to see the chief of staff. Now I'm afraid regional director for health services, Mrs. Charity Sapon, doctor. Wow, oh minister, your supply 2 weeks ago. Facility BI should have vitamin A. In Tisadia, let me call the district director. Now I check with him. Because it is center, no? Either the DG or me, we cannot be in every center all the time. We have close to about 4,800 facilities, including the CHIP compounds. Charity here, the check store framework. Yes, the thing is there. And so Papa no can send me check. Ne record the bia weekly. Ne buy nya vitamin A no. O kwa nya kan chense bi ni ho. Ti mestremu. Ba bia we encounter self problem no bia no. My asonte, and we know how we deal with our district directors to resolve that matter. So DG, check on the DSO thing for us. Dr. Sewa, I think I'll leave the psychiatric hospital with a new strategy and what you are putting in there. Dr. Say maybe I'm a man wakasa on that thing, kakra. NHIA debt, how much is left? I wouldn't be able to tell anybody. The question wasn't very precise. Sorry, I cannot speak English. The question is not very precise. If you ask NHIA debt, when you haven't received claims and vetted to authenticate what is genuine, you can't talk about numbers. Because we have mandated 3 months to be paid in arrears in the law. So they bring in their claims as and when they finish them, they're supposed to submit every month. Some of them will not submit, they will wait until 3 months, then they will submit. So accumulating debt to be able to authenticate and give numbers on them is a very difficult task. It's not realistic. You cannot do it. So what we do is that when we get the claims, we set our vetting machinery, we calculate. When we have finished with vetting and authenticated and we know this is the amount, we keep it down, waiting for payment to be done. The numbers that I've mentioned that we have paid will translate into almost everybody having been paid to July this year. Is that correct? Sorry, July last year. But along the line, some facilities have been paid, especially the lower level facilities, with the exception of those who generate IGFs that can work on their own for some time without health insurance monies coming in, like the teaching hospitals and the regional hospitals. There are some sort of cases they do there that are not on health insurance list that will enable them to collect some monies in there. So we do very low levels that will help us achieve what we call the universal health coverage, people assessing without barriers. And that is what I can say. So not until we vet and authenticate, I will not be able to tell how much is gone through. CHIP compounds, who is holding the projector, should roll down to the tail end of what you have. In the exhibition, you will see what is there. Probably let me look at the slide I mentioned. That we have done 15 CHIP compounds, and we are in the process of doing another 26. And the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives has also contracted, and we also do another 26 in that area. So it can never be correct that since we came, we have never added a single CHIP compound. All the CHIP compounds that were not completed with the polyclinics and so forth, at the time that we took over, we have commissioned 10 in Central Region alone, 5 polyclinics, 5 in Greater Accra will be commissioned sometime in June, virtually completed. A lot of projects left undone, not completed. We have found money to complete them. And CHIP compounds, quite a number of them has also been done. But on our account, I can say emphatically that 15 are being done now. We have completed with 26, and we are still on the map getting on CHIP compounds, some more CHIP compounds to be done. Allied health strike. This is another unfortunate situation. And will for you as in tree. Allied health no so mean hunya may be. More person created directorates in my allied health in the ministry. You can't share with we have always been engaging. since 2017. Earlier on, they were fighting the previous government. Professor Ite Committee submitted a report. For me, that couldn't solve any problem. We have been going to Labour Commission almost every week with Allied Health. When you bring this problem, we try to resolve the matter. The ones that we can't do, we say wait, and we'll see what it is. This is about the 4th time they have threatened strike since I came into the ministry in 2017. Now they are asking of what? We are trying to amend the Teaching Hospitals Act to change the composition of their boards. Cabinet has approved a new proposal. We have laid this in Parliament. The Health Committee is looking at the amendment. They have advertised in the public domain that anybody who has complaints and suggestions about a new bill, new amendment in the bill, submit your proposal to Parliament for them to consider. We haven't done parliamentary consideration of the bill. So do you go on strike on this matter? So go and tell Parliament that this new thing that Cabinet has approved, they have left out our name. So can we put it here, Parliament? And the committee will sit down with you and engage. So write your proposal to them. That is how we do legislation in this country. Do you need to go on strike when we are in the process of inviting people to come with their complaints in Parliament? So what is it that we are looking for? Their next complaint is that we haven't got them a board for the past how many years? 2 years. Meanwhile, I will submit consultation after that to Office of the President. The Chief of Staff will send it to the Council of State. And this time round, Council of State is working a bit differently. They vet CVs, they come back to you and say that this person cannot sit on this board. Can you change him? So the process of getting boards done now is a bit slowed because they are doing more efficient work. And was it yesterday also somebody came and said, no, this morning when I met the chairman of the College of Pharmacists, he said the board you appointed is a very vibrant, efficient board. When you go to Konfanochi, the same comments. So the Council of State this time is not working as business as usual. Meanwhile, there is one particular person, either in the Federation as an executive or in one of the allied health professions, who has been sitting on the board for more than 2 terms. The first list we sent, his name was there. There was a query that they wanted evidence that the association or whatever it is had actually selected him. We called him to change it. There was a tussle. It took some time before it went back. His name still remained. They queried again. We brought it back on engagement. It looks like his name is still there. He's aware. Yet he also sent a petition that this is delaying. His name is in that list, signed. I wouldn't mention him here. So we are facing a little bit of challenges with that. We are engaging them. When these things happen and you are talking and it's becoming difficult, we engage the medical superintendents and those in charge of the facilities to ensure that services are provided. As we engage them, we believe that this will not prolong. I have spoken to the Council of State chair, and they have even gone to see him. And he has assured them he's working on it. So they should exercise restraint. So I don't see the need for a strike action. Meanwhile, we're engaging. And I think I asked the Chief Rector to call them again by tomorrow and let us see how we can resolve this matter. But these things will soon be resolved and the strike will not impact on health service delivery any significantly. We talk about the 54,000 recruitments. These are financial clearance. But like I said earlier on, the 54,000 is a cumulative figure, please get me right, from 2017. 2019 alone, that is when we got the highest, about 34,000. So 54 minus 34 were recruited in 2017 and 2018 who have been in the field, some 2 years, some 1 year. As we stand here, the 34,000 that was given to us this year, about 3,000 or 4,000 will become effective from July. So we cannot recruit them now. We are in the process of doing the recruitment. The rest, quite a number of them are working. Some of them are still asking the DG for reposting. Some of them are looking for accommodation to work. Some started work only yesterday. And that is why we are saying that by close of the year, when we'll have finished the entire exercise, we'll have recruited 54,000 plus from January 2017 to December 2019. So it's a process that has not been fully completed. But we have financial clearance. That is the warrant, the authority for us to recruit. So we have opened a new portal. People are applying through the computerized system, and we are working and interviewing and posting them. And I believe by the end of the year, the exercise will have come through. It cuts across all professions in the health sector. Doctors, medical officers, nurses, pharmacists, allied health, administrators, and all that. Plus, even those that have been recruited in the facilities by the facilities themselves, we call them non-mechanized staff. We're using this financial clearance regime to mechanize some of them, because some have worked for 8 years as temporary staff, and that is not good for nobody. Meanwhile, we are not getting financial clearance to clear them, but we started the process. We believe by close of next year, we might have done a little bit more for even those people. Privately trained nurses who hitherto were not getting placements at all have now been given financial clearance, and we're engaging them for recruitment. Some have started working. All those young people who were doing higher, degrees and diplomates, even the universities, were considered as private nurses, and they were not being employed at all. Now we are engaging them for employment. So that is the good news that we have on the front of human resource management. Thank you very much. Dr. Say, mental health.
For mental health, basically the question is about infrastructural development at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. As we speak now, discussions are going on and far advanced to rebuild Accra Psychiatric Hospital. As soon as the discussions are finished, we will soon get architectural designs. It will be built from the current 600 capacity, which is even overstretched to about 1,002, to just a 100-bed facility with apartments for staff. So the discussions are underway. The challenge remains with money to the hospitals for them to run. That is the challenge. And that we are working towards getting the LI passed, the LI to the parent law, which mentions the establishment of the levy, and thereafter the levy, mental health levy established. That will be the definitive solution. Until then, the financial challenges remain. But infrastructurally, the plans are underway to rebuild Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Thank you.
Nashika Caesar with City FM, City TV. Now, some concerns were made about the malaria vaccine, and people thinking they're going to experiment the kids in Ghana. But I don't think the ministry has said enough to address these concerns. So, if the minister would please.
My name is Cliff Ekufa, I write for the Ghanaian Times. Minister, I would want to find out if the clearance for the 54,000 will deal absolutely with the backlog. If after recruiting the 54,000, would we still have some backlog of health professionals? If we will, what measures are we putting in place to ensure that we clear all of them?
My name is Abubakar Ibrahim. I'm from Nigeria Online. I was happy you mentioned Global Fund, because in their bid to help fight malaria, they said that they've been helping the country with some anti-malaria drugs. But recently, at a presser by the Chamber of Pharmacy, they alleged that, there are some drugs that the Global Fund bears all the cost, but it's written on the drugs that they are not for sale, but according to them, these drugs are being sold because they claim on the NHIA list, they find some of the drugs as those that are given to people and they are being billed. So if you can speak to that. Thank you.
My name is Samuel Opoku. I'm from Accra FM. And Mr. Minister, my question goes to the Central Medical Stores. After it got banned and the investigation in the reports, how far is what is your ministry doing in terms of the people who were implicated in the banning of the store, and what is your ministry also doing to
in future ensure such facilities in case when it get banned? What's be done about it? Thank you very much.
I must commend you for digitization of the NHIS. It's pretty good. I can now do it for the villagers.
You forgot to introduce yourself before.
My name is Maxwell. My name is Maxwell. Maxwell, I write for the Chronicle newspaper. And I would like to know, digitizing the health sector nationwide, when is it going to take place and how much is involved in this exercise? Also, I would like to know if there will be a line or a directorate where we can lodge complaints. Since, as journalists, we do hear lots of things about the health ministry, and you know the amount of money being spent, So I would like to know if there will be a line or a directorate where we can lodge complaints. Thank you.
Malaria drugs on sale. This country, this is how we manifest ourselves. I don't think any doctor or a director general will deliberately go and put drugs that have been pasted not for sale on any counter to be sold. It is not only in this country, even across the borders. We were finding some global fund commodities that have been smuggled out of our country for sale. We are in the process, we've started putting in place certain mechanisms that will protect the drugs that come for free. We are still even battling for a decision as a big policy as to whether we should stop global fund free medication and procure them ourselves, such that we will not find not for sale in any facility. But we haven't agreed yet with global fund the way we should go. So that is something that we are working to try to stop. And for now, I wouldn't say it's on a very, very large scale. You might definitely see some infractions somewhere else. So if along your normal work, you find some of these things around, let us know. We started partnering with a bank to try to create an ultra-modern state-of-the-art call center where we can get complaints from and respond. We're partnering with health insurance. But along the line, there were hitches. It looks like our partner was looking for more than we could chew. So we held those engagements. But that is still on our drawing board, working with health insurance to try to see how best we can engage interactively with the public so that we can get complaints online and respond live to them. The 54,000 nurses that I mentioned, I started by saying that you all remember that between 2012 coming up until 2017, there was a big policy, a ban on recruitment of nurses. Those who were bonded and those who were not bonded, the private people, none of them was being recruited. They were recruiting even medical officers and housemen on limited basis. At times they recruit them 2 years, they can't process you to be paid. So some doctors will get angry and they will sit at home. So these were the type of backlogs that we encountered. As we stand here, we've cleaned the environment and have brought in some little semblance of sanity by the type of work we have done. Now we are recruiting the doctors to a little bit satisfaction to themselves. We are not perfecting yet, but not as it used to be at the time we actually joined. So we are doing our work together with them to improve on the system. Now, it will be difficult for us to quantify the backlog. As we sit here, all the nurses who went through licensure exams, whether private or, public, it looks like we have worked on them up to 2016. Those left are little cases of referrals. When you write the exams and you don't pass the first instance, the master list that is sent to us, your name is not there. So it will come the second time and come and meet your juniors who are behind you. And so these are the type of situations we encounter that gives us backlogs, but very difficult for us to quantify as I said, because we get a list from Nurses and Midwifery Council as and when they have certified them to practice the profession. So that is a bit difficult question for me, but what I can say is that we don't seem to have that massive backlogs that was attracting picketing into the ministry the time we started work on them. So the 54,000 does not include numbers that were recruited prior to 2017. Virtually for nurses, that was 0. And let us get things straight this way. Okay. Malaria vaccines. I want to bring Dr. Nsiah-Sarrey to do that. But let me see the Central Medical Source issue. In my slides, I think I put in outstanding matters. I don't know if we still have it in there. Outstanding issues in the ministry that we met and we still haven't been able to resolve. The Central Medical Stores fire outbreak is one of them, and that has become like a challenge. The report that was given us stated emphatically that there was arson. This was a BNI report. Meanwhile, in that same report, the concluding portions, they said that forensic audit should be done. So on advice, it was like, if you haven't finished forensic audit, you can't take anybody to task in court. Technically, you stand likely to lose your case. So we subjected this matter to some rigorous engagement. In the process, the Auditor General picked the documents with the support from some of our donor partners because they were interested, especially DFID, commissioned a forensic audit to be done. Unfortunately, evidence had been destroyed. Because 3 days after the fire outbreak, under the guise that they were going to redevelop the Central Medical Stores, a contractor who was doing some work somewhere was mobilized to the site that they were going to rebuild. And after he clearing the entire place of all evidence that could have been gathered for forensic work stopped, the basis that there was no funds available for that project. So we have referred this matter first to YOCO, to Attorney General's office. The forensic auditor has submitted his report to the Auditor General. He also has submitted to the, Attorney General's office. And the three of us, plus YOCO, the Ministry, Auditor General, Attorney General's office, we are still looking at the forensic report to see if we can have some merit with some evidence that we have on our hands to see if we can do prosecution of some people. That is where we stand on that matter. So I picked them as outstanding issues. It's on the slide somewhere. Apart from this, there are 2 more. The case of the 30 ambulances. That is also still hanging. I got a call from the President's office last week. The President is not comfortable about why we are leaving the ambulances sitting down there. Then I responded that, tell the President for me, that the ambulances were rejected by the ministry even before I joined in, on the basis that it did not meet technical specifications. And I've seen a technical report which says that those type of buses cannot be used for ambulance because they were created for cargo and they have holes underneath. And ambulance with blood and infections and all that, if you try to use that ambulance, you wouldn't know how hygienic or safe they will be. So we can't negotiate to take anything. For us, we haven't received any items, but unfortunately, some payments, LCs were done and they were drawn. They were supposed to supply 200. They did only 30. So we are now engaging the Attorney General to see, after that long delay for non-performance on the part of the contractor, whether there will be merit for us to terminate the contract and demand refund of what monies had gone to the suppliers. So I call that one to still an outstanding matter in my slides. The next one is some outstanding issue on defective condoms. Close to $3.8 million condoms were imported, procured through Ghana Health Service and the ministry. FDA rejected all of them, so the ministry couldn't take delivery. The contractor is supposed to pay back or replace them, and as at now, that has not happened. So we have referred these matters to YOCO, Attorney General's office, and ourselves are still engaging to see how best we can resolve this matter. Unfortunately, for the condoms, they use Global Fund money. So Global Fund has forced the ministry to pay back that money. And so the person who supplied should get himself ready to refund all that money or replace the condoms for us. Unfortunately, when they were demanding that we should continue to procure condoms to meet our co-funding obligations, some press people reported that the minister had bought $3.9 million condoms. Some of you heard about this. And the minister had no defense in the media. So these are obligations. And we need to work on some of these things. So Central Medical Stores, the effective condoms, case of the 30 ambulances are still work in progress. And I believe we will not throw them away. We'll work diligently on them to see how we can retrieve some monies or get those people involved punished. Thank you very much. I think I've finished everything with the exception of the malaria thing. But that issue is a bit technical globally. So the minister wouldn't want to double in it. I'll bring my technical advisor, one of them, to see how he can work on.
It's very unfortunate that we've been talking about this malaria vaccine for some time, but people still feel that we haven't said anything. I'll go back and tell you that the person who made the video and the audio which is circulating about the malaria was not very much well informed about what is happening. About 100 years ago, everybody in health field started thinking about having a vaccine for malaria. You remember that when you had Gold Coast, the reason why the whites didn't stay here for long, malaria was killing them. And for over 100 years, nothing was coming. So 30 years ago, GlaxoSmithKline came out of a malaria vaccine, which was tested for the first time, not on blacks. Sure, people have been saying that we tested the blood only on blacks. It's not true. They tested it on American soldiers who have returned from malaria endemic area. When you are doing this test, first, after the experimental in the lab, and then it's accepted, and then you test it, you do what you call first clinical trial. That is where you enroll people, entice them, and give them money. I'm sure they were talking about we are not giving any money to anybody. Then you go through second clinical trial. So the first clinical trial is about 20 years ago, not in Africa. So after they've seen the effect of it, then they said that let's go to an endemic area. Endemic area of malaria is in Africa, unfortunately, parts of Asia and South America. So we have to come to where the disease are. And this particular vaccine is for what you call Plasmodium falciparum, which is more in our environment in the sub-Saharan African countries. So they came and did what you call the second clinical trial and third clinical trial. It is also not true that it has not gone through clinical trials. In fact, Ghana, there were two sites for the third clinical trial, which started in 2006. That I was in Konfanoche, and I knew School of Medical Sciences, KNUST, were the people who were doing it. They did it in Agogo and Kintampo. 3,000 children were enrolled onto the clinical trial, and they followed them since 2006 till today. The clinical trials, the third clinical trial, which we took part, finished in 2013. And they've been following the children. In fact, the first child who had a clinical trial, we showed it when Kintampo did their 50th anniversary. And the child is about 13 years now. She has never had malaria infection. And then after that, we then move into what we call pilot implementation. So what we started on the 1st of May is not a clinical trial, and I want to repeat, it's not a clinical trial, it's a pilot implementation. And that's normally what vaccines go through. We are using a measles vaccine, which the minister said, which is right, that now medical schools don't even see measles cases to study. The same case which is happening here that people have said that they make videos and talk against vaccines is happening in America. If you go to US now, there are about 1 million children who have measles. Now mothers are sending their children to go and have measles vaccination, when we have almost eliminated measles in Ghana. So I'm sure very soon they will come here and learn from us. So Ghana then applied after the clinical trials that we want to be part of the pilot implementation. And they look at our malaria control project, they look at our EPI, which is very robust. As we said, about 97% of our children are immunized. They go through all the 13 immunizations. And every vaccine which we use in this world goes through these phases: laboratory, manufacturing, laboratory tests, first clinical trial, second clinical trial, third clinical trial, and they do pilot implementation. That's why we are making use of BCG, measles, rotavirus, and all this is. So Ghana applied, and we went through a rigorous examination, and we were chosen to be one of the 3 countries for the pilot implementation. And Ghana, Malawi, and Kenya were chosen. Malawi started on 23rd of April. Ghana launched it on 30th of April and started on the 1st of May. So it's also not true that Malawi and Kenya refused and Ghana went for it. Yesterday, when it was raining, around 4 o'clock, some of the things that we will do so that we get our EPI also robust is that WHO, with the partners, also donated 39 motorbikes for all the 39 sites that we are using, and then two vehicles also to monitor. We have so far, I'll give you figures, we have so far been 2 weeks into the pilot implementation. And in the 39 districts that we are doing in the 6 regions, two of the districts are being used as a post-market survey in Upper East. And then the 6 are in Oti, Volta region, Central region, Brunhafo region, and Central region, Brunhafo region, Brun East, and then Ahafo. And so far, we have about nearly 5,000 children who have freely, their mothers know the importance of vaccination. If you don't understand the importance of vaccination, when your child gets sick with malaria and you have to rush the child to the hospital in the night and you are going to look for blood, then you see the importance of vaccination. Or if when we were in medical school, we were seeing children coming to die with measles and rotavirus, with diarrhea and cough and all these things, then you know the importance of vaccination. And I was very surprised that the person who made the video is a woman, and I'm sure he has children. We found out he's not in Ghana, he's not in Africa, he's sitting somewhere in the UK. So the child has not been bitten by a mosquito. He has no malaria before. So he has the freedom to speak like that. But I say that he was not well informed. We have engaged her. Those who have seen the second video he has done, now he has toned down that she didn't know what he was talking about. She thought it was clinical trials, so we should compensate the children. So I want to repeat here, we are not using any child here in Ghana as a guinea pig. We've gone through that stage a long time ago in the laboratories with American soldiers. We are now doing what we call pilot implementation for 2 to 3 years. After we finish and we follow the children for that period, then World Health Organization will then announce that we can use the malaria vaccine for all children below the age of 2 years in the endemic areas. We started from 6 months, repeat it on 7th month, then the 9th month, and then 2 years when they go for their vitamin A supplementation. That's the difficult period. So we entreat all of you, especially the media, that join us in this fight. We are fighting for the children of this country. We are fighting for the future of this country. Malaria kills over 400,000 children every year. And after the clinical trials, we realized that about 40% of malaria, when you give vaccination to malaria, children with malaria, you cut the deaths by 40%. Somebody will tell me that 40% is too small. It is not true. 40% of 400,000 is about 100,000, which means that if it is your child, and your child dies, your sister's child died, then you see the importance of malaria vaccination. So join us. And then let's forget about these anti-vaccination campaigners who have now brought measles full swing into US, especially in New York. You don't want to go that lane. And if you are not very careful, then children and mothers will then be choosing that I don't allow my child to have this vaccination or this vaccination. If you don't allow your child to have vaccination and your child still keeps the malaria parasites in the child, the mosquito will go and bite, because we have 5-star hotels of mosquitoes of all our dams and all these things. You bite somebody with malaria and then come and bite your child, and your child will get malaria and get severe malaria, having cerebral palsy or have anemia and die from it. That's what you don't want. So it's a very good success story, and Ghana will add its name to the League of Nations, and everybody will say that Ghana was one of the nations which was used for pilot implementation. That's why we have malaria vaccines. Thank you.
The whole project is being supported by academia in our country, researchers, and scientists. And on advice, we tried as much as possible to remove politics out of this very sensitive, important project. So if you have watched since the launching, and the implementation, initial stages, none of us ministers has said anything about it. Even in Parliament, we had consensus, and the Parliamentary Select Committee were assembled for them to meet with the technical people who are working on it, and they briefed them. So we agreed that don't let us send a normal one-issue politics thing into this matter. Why do we manage it that way? The surest way for sub-Saharan Africa to eliminate malaria by 2030 SDG targets is to introduce malaria as a vaccine preventable disease. When we're talking about polio, we can't find it. Measles, I said no doctor can even diagnose measles now. Why? How did we achieve that? Through vaccination. The good thing for us again, for sustainability of our health insurance, very fragile. Malaria cases alone, out of our claims, takes more than 50% of our money, pay for malaria treatment across the country. So if you are able, in 20 years from now, 15 years from now, to have reduced or completely eliminated malaria, health insurance will become a very vibrant financial risk protector for diseases in our country. That is when, after removing malaria and its cost attendance, we can then expand our coverage to take in the new challenges that we are facing with non-communicable diseases, renal issues, cardio, strokes, and what have you. So as a country, we need to think alongside with the scientists who are developing some of these things. No vaccine, no medication developed in the first instance will never go through bioequivalence testing before it is taken out to the public for anything to be done. Fortunately, by a regulation, FDA has registered and approved the vaccine that we are using now scientifically. WHO is supporting us, and they are ready across the countries close by, even together with Geneva. And they have set their emergency preparedness activities in place such that if there is any problem, they will descend immediately into Ghana to help us solve the problem. As we are standing, there are people in the field, including WHO monitors, surveillance. So far, over the last 1 or 2 weeks, there has not been a single adverse effect on any child that has gone through the vaccination. And we've managed to sensitize the opinion leaders and the people that we are vaccinating to the extent that acceptability is very, very, very high. So don't let us use anti-vaccine campaigners, things that they are doing to destroy the good thing we want to do for our country. I gave them a copy of an extract from Time magazine. When I was coming from Cuba, I was reading out and I saw what is happening in America. New York alone, close to 1,000 new cases of measles. And all the kids on research, parents, listened to anti-vaccine campaigners and did not take their case through measles vaccination. So now the case is coming up in America. And as of today even, they are reporting more new cases. So people are now rushing for vaccines in America. So all of us sitting here, had it not been some vaccines that were administered to us, I don't think we will be around 60 as we are now. When we were young, our life expectancy was about 45 years. Now we've gone beyond 60. And one significant reason is vaccine preventable diseases amongst us. So let us all put our hands together. Don't let us report politics into this matter. So the minister has taken himself out, leaving the scientists to do their work. Nobody is claiming credit. But we, the whole nation, will stand to benefit from this type of thing. So let us all agree to take politics away from the malaria vaccine. Thank you very much. Because I think we've finished.
Minister for Health, Deputy Ministers for Health, Deputy Minister for Information, Chief Executives, our media partners, we want to say thank you for attending upon our invitation. I'm sure you've noticed that in the last about 2-3 weeks, every week we have about 2 at least about 2 ministers who are here to provide an update on whatever is going on in their sector and to take your questions. Just some 2 points I want to make, particularly to our media colleagues. This whole democracy that we are practicing thrives on the people's understanding of what is really going on. And there are 2 points that I want to make reference to the people's understanding, which you help us to shape a lot. The first is that there are times when the wrong information will get out first because nobody could predict who was going to put out some wrong information. And you may give it a lot of mileage or coverage on your platforms because it's exciting news. Like they say, bad news sells. It's exciting news. But when we have an opportunity to get the ministers or the persons responsible for the sectors to provide the clarification or the correction, we want to implore you to give that also as much mileage as we have given the initial misinformation, so that the citizen at home understands it clearly, and that potential for misinformation is eschewed. That's the only way we can have the citizen knowing and therefore making the right decisions. In the case of the malaria vaccines, for example, if we've given a lot of mileage to the misconceptions out there, as the proper information is being made available, or as the truth is being made available, I will implore you to make that also available as much as possible. We'll do our best to let it go viral, but you also dedicate some good airtime to it so that the millions of our people out there get the facts and therefore are informed. That's number one. Number two, many of you have asked questions about things that we didn't discuss here today or we didn't intend to discuss, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. And I imagine, therefore, that there are angles you want to use for your stories. That's fine. Again, we want to employ that while you treat those stories, our 4 big stories that we are also pushing out, we think that there are bits of information that are very important for the public. So treat your stories, but again, as partners in this enterprise, make space for these 4 big announcements for the people at home also to understand, particularly on the recruitment in the health sector, where people are sitting home and are feeling apprehensive. If you tell them that 54,000 have been recruited, this is the roadmap, this is the reason for which we've had this challenge, this is the way forward, I'm sure that the apprehensions can be attended to. So you are partners in the exercise. It's not we against you or you against us. We are partners in the exercise and we implore you to help us accordingly.